Greetings, everyone. Rajee Narinesingh here, transgender activist, author, spiritualist, actress, reality TV personality. So I'm coming to you from my very humble home here in South Florida, USA. And I'm a multiracial individual. To give you the breakdown, it's like 52% South Asian, 24% African, 20% European, and I can't forget the 4% Pacific Islander. And I've been discriminated in my life by white people, by black people, by Indian people because I'm not all Indian. So I've experienced that. And as a transgender woman, oh my God, let's not talk about discrimination on so many different levels from so many different types of people. So yesterday I was having a conversation with this white man. Late 40s, white American. He claimed to be an independent, but based on this conversation, he was leaning really to the Republican side, but he claimed to be independent. So he starts going on about, oh, how horrible Obama was as a president. And, he did this and that and the other and hurt this country so bad. And he's like, Trump is doing such a wonderful job. And did you know that he even caught the worst terrorist ever? And I said, well, if I recall correctly, President Obama caught Osama bin Laden. And he was pretty damn bad. So he's like, oh, well, President Obama didn't catch him. The military did. And I said, oh, and the military didn't catch the one that you're talking about that Trump got? I said, come on. Like, he didn't literally go over to the Middle East and catch him and kill him with his hands. It's the same thing. So anyway, he's like, well, yeah, you're right. And so I think what happens because of the systematic racism in this country, and it's so entrenched in the American system because we were built on 350 years of slavery and another almost 100 years of Jim Crow, I think a lot of times white people are oblivious to the fact that they're thinking like one-sided. And black people do it too, but I'm talking about this white guy. So anyway, he then proceeds to talk about how corrupt Obama is. Oh my God, he's so corrupt. And did you know he bought 2 houses this year? He bought one for $7 million. I said, good for him. He bought another one for $10 million. Good for him. I said, and let's talk about all the houses Trump owns. And I said, the difference between Trump and Obama is Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth because daddy had so much money. I said, Obama had to work his ass off to get where he is. And I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Trump didn't work hard, but like, come on, let's keep it real here. So then he's like, well, I just think Trump is so funny. Oh my God, I just get the biggest kick out of him and the things he says and how he stands up there. And like he's saying this and then light bulbs are going off in my head. I'm like, oh, so for these people that support Trump, it's like a comedy show. They just love his antics. And granted, okay, maybe some of the stuff he says is funny. Some of the stuff he does is funny, but there's a lot of stuff that he says that is not funny. And I told this guy, I said, he blasted the NFL players that were taking a knee in the name of equality for all people, and then turned right around and called John McCain, who went to fight in the name of this country and even was held in captivity for a while, a coward. Come on. Really? So anyway, he's like, well, I can't argue with that, And then he's like, well, Obama was just such a horrible president. You really have to look at what he did and to understand what I mean. And I said, okay, all right. So let's say he was so horrible. I said, we had one horrible president of color. I said, the rest of the presidents of this country have been white men, and a lot of them have been pretty horrible. And so he looks at me, he's like, well, I guess I can't argue with that one. Yeah, you're right. There's been some horrible presidents, white presidents. So, okay, touche, buddy, touche. Like really one president of color, and like people are having a conniption over this. Like, anyway, everyone has their faults. I'm not saying Obama was perfect, but under his presidency, we trans people made some strides in equality, and I just can't forget that. I'm sorry. So, anyway, he proceeds to talk about Kamala next and Kamala Harris. And if she becomes president, oh my God, this is going to become a socialist country. And I'm looking at him like, buddy, it is not going to become a socialist country. Come on, really? America has always kind of been a mixed bag. I mean, you cannot have a completely capitalist country because life doesn't work that way. Life is not fair. People are not born on the same equal level of playing field for many different reasons. And so, I brought up Social Security, a government-run program. People pay into it. And, hopefully when it comes time to retire, they're able to get their Social Security. Government run, okay? I said to him, I bet you all these conservative Republicans that walk around screaming, less government, didn't return their stimulus check this year. Money issued by the government. So it's, we have a mixed bag society, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing, So anyway, he then says, well, she was born in America, but she lived in Canada for years. I didn't know that, but I learned that because of her mom's being in research, she got a job in Canada and she moved to Canada for some years, but then came back here to Howard for college, Howard University. So anyway, I said, well, she was born here, so that makes her American. And then he says, well, not American Pie American. And I'm like, oh, so am I supposed to read between the lines? Like, because she's not white, she's not American. Like, what's this not American Pie American business? So I was telling my cousin on my mom's side, who, by the way, can pass for white or someone that's not of color, but she's not going to stand with the bullshit. She tells it, she calls stuff out. And I told her, and she's like, oh, it's interesting how when white people, go abroad, they're expanding their horizons and they're becoming more of a cultured person and they're becoming more worldly. If a person of color does, they're not American. Really? Oh my God. Oh. So anyway, we then went to the topic of the whole Confederacy thing and people wanting the Confederate statues to be torn down. And he's like, that was not about protesting the history of slavery. That was about people just wanting to create havoc and chaos in our country. And I said to him, come on. When you hear Confederacy, there is a direct connection to slavery. Okay. And I said, yes, it's our history. And I said, these people that walk around talking about, well, it's our history. It's, it's a part of our history. And we're honoring it through these statues. I'm like, really? Hitler was a part of German history. And I don't think there's statues around Germany of Hitler. Okay. History is history, but you decide what part of your history you want to glorify. And slavery is certainly not one of them. So anyway, I was like, come on. So we were back and forth. And the interesting thing, a lot of the stuff I said, he was like, I can't argue with you. You got a point there. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about, buddy. I might be a transgender, multiracial woman of color, but I got some smarts. I know what I'm talking about. So anyway, it's a shame because to the core of us, we're walking around with these bodies, but to the core, we are divine, living vibrational energies of the universe. And I think, unfortunately, not as many people realize how connected we really are, So on that note, I just want to say, whoever becomes president, God bless America. And I want to wish everyone love, happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and many wonderful blessings.